This is Top 30. Investigators released new information about what they found in the Las Vegas gunman's room, while people across the country honored and remembered the 59 victims who died in the mass shooting. Police say they recovered 23 weapons inside Stephen Paddock's 32nd floor suite at the Mandalay Bay and 19 more guns in his home. During the shooting, officers went floor by floor of the hotel, and when they found the room, the gunman fired at them, hitting one officer in the leg. A SWAT team burst in, but he'd already killed himself. Investigators believe the gunman acted alone, making the motive harder to find. Meanwhile, several vigils were held in Las Vegas and around the country to honor the victims, including in Nashville, the home of country music. And we've been starting to receive some images of the innocent victims who died that night.
What happened Sunday night in Vegas, we can all agree, is heartbreaking. But as the investigation into what happened advances, we're hearing the stories of hope, the heroes who put their own lives in harm's way to save another. Sonny Melton, a registered nurse in Tennessee, used his body as a human shield, saving his wife, Heather Galish Melton, in the process. Heather told Fox News, "I don't know what to say. Sonny was the most kind-hearted, loving man I have ever met. He saved my life and lost his." According to the Fox affiliate in Hartford, when the shot started, 21-year-old Taylor Benj's sister used her body to shield him and said, "I love you, Taylor." Luckily, both siblings somehow survived the massacre. When the shooting began, 42-year-old U.S. Army veteran Robert Ledbetter let his battlefield instincts take over. Ledbetter got his family to safety and then started tending to the wounded. He pulled them from harm's way or created makeshift bandages from strangers' donated T-shirts. AP reported that Ledbetter said, "Everybody there is going to have emotional problems. I know that. There was blood everywhere I went. All these people are going to have PTSD. I feel bad for all of them." There's no doubt there's a long road ahead for these survivors, and here at Top 30, our thoughts and prayers are with them.
Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Tom Petty has died at the age of 66. He was the lead singer of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and also had a successful solo career. Petty started in music back in the 1970s and had just completed a 40th anniversary tour at the Hollywood Bowl last Monday. Petty famously fought his record label when MCA tried to increase prices for his album Hard Promises. He refused to release the record with the price hike, and MCA ended up caving. During his career, Petty won 3 Grammys and sang dozens of hits, including American Girl, Refugee, and Don't Come Around Here No More.
Whatever you're looking for.
He was found unconscious and in cardiac arrest at his Malibu home on Sunday night and rushed to the hospital, but Petty died the next day. Tom Petty dead at the age of 66.
Facebook has announced that as many as 10 million Americans saw ads on its site that were linked to Russia. This week, the company turned over 3,000 ads to congressional investigators. They were linked to a company based in St. Petersburg that's known for spreading pro-Russia propaganda online. In every case, the authors of those ads posed as Americans. They wrote about divisive topics like LGBT issues, race relations, and gun rights. Some of them included harsh language about illegal immigrants and supporters of the Black Lives Matter movement. In one case, they even targeted dog lovers. The creators of the posts sometimes paid to promote them, so they would appear in users' news feeds. They often asked real users to share them to their own feed or join a fake group. Facebook said it was possible there could be more Russian advertising on the platform and that they are still investigating. The company also said in the future it will try to make advertising on the site more transparent. But fake dog ads? Come on. These are your quick hits. A couple from Indiana has admitted to stealing more than $1.2 million from Amazon. Taking advantage of the company's generous return policy, Aaron and Leah Finan milked Amazon using hundreds of fake identities. They both pleaded guilty to mail fraud and money laundering. A 38-year-old Sikh was just elected the leader of Canada's new Democratic Party, making him the country's first person of color to ever head a major political party. Jagmeet Singh swept the left-wing party and will face the country's current Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in the 2019 election. And Balenciaga just debuted their collaboration with Crocs in Paris. Yes, Crocs, the rubber boat shoe that we love to hate. Looks like they're here to stay.
This week, Congress will begin hearing testimony from former Equifax CEO Richard Smith about the company's recent hack. In prepared remarks released ahead of these sessions, Smith blamed a series of errors and delays for the security breach. Those include staffers not responding to a warning about a security flaw in its system and a malfunctioning scanning tool missing the threat. Equifax said Monday that an outside security firm had completed an audit and that it was now increasing its estimates of the number of Americans affected. That number now stands at 145.5 million. Congress is expected to ask detailed questions about the timeline of the hack. The Department of Homeland Security first warned of a flaw in the Equifax system on March the 8th. The network was checked a week later. Hackers first accessed consumer data in May, and they weren't shut out until July. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are warning that this will be the first of many hearings. Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend of mine, Nicole Petalides. Nicole, what do you got in business news?
Well, Tesla Model 3 production is losing its charge. The company announcing it has not produced even 20% of what it forecast. CEO Elon Musk says they ran into some, quote, production bottlenecks. Instead of producing 1,500 cars, the automaker made just 260 cars. But Musk claims there is no fundamental issues with the production or the supply chain. Shake Shack is going cashless. The burger joint is trying out a new option. The new spot will open in Manhattan's East Village. It will feature custom-made kiosks that feature touchscreen ordering, built-in text message alerts when your order is ready. And Instagram is becoming shoppable. It's all thanks to BigCommerce, the e-commerce platform announcing its customers will now have access to shoppable posts. This is one of the latest steps in Instagram's gradual rollout of the shopping feature. Right now, it's only available for US-based merchants who run an active Facebook shop.
I need to know how this is going to affect my Instagram feed.
Well, Instagram plans to make money by letting the businesses pay to display their shoppable photos to the people who do not even follow them. So it's sort of similar to the ads that you are already seeing on Instagram, just maybe more of them.
That's great stuff, Nicole Petalides. Thank you. The FDA has approved a new medical device that could make life a lot less painful for diabetics. The Freestyle Libre Flash is the first continuous glucose monitoring system that does not require patients to prick their finger to get a blood sample. A doctor places a small sensor on the patient's upper arm. It stays in place by an adhesive pad and can be worn for up to 14 days. Users can check their blood sugar level by waving an accompanying mobile reader over the sensor like a wand. The development is certainly good news for diabetics tired of pricking their finger every day, but it's also good news for Abbott Diabetes Care Inc., the company that was granted approval. It saw its shares jump over 3% after the announcement.
October is typically the time Starbucks is in the news over pumpkin spice, but now the coffee giant has taken some heat on its new policy on parental leave. As of the first of the month, Starbucks gives their corporate workers 18 weeks of paid maternity leave. Hourly workers like baristas, who bring in about $10 an hour, get 1/3 of that, 6 weeks of paid time off. Adoptive parents and men at the corporate level get 12 weeks of paid time off, and the hourly employees in that category can take 12 weeks off too, but it's without pay. Critics like Jess Fanenik, who's an hourly worker and a new mommy, say it's not fair. Jess told The Guardian, quote, "You can't have corporate without us, so why would one have a better benefit than the other?" So we'll see if the feedback on the new parental leave terms convinces Starbucks to brew up a change in policy.
Among developed countries, America is by far and away the most violent. And to argue that has nothing to do with America's easy access to firearms is not sustainable. The United States has just over 4% of the world's population and 42% of all civilian-owned guns in the world. Since the massacre at Sandy Hook, there have been more than 1,300 mass shootings in the United States. More than 1,500 have been killed and over 5,000 wounded. Here they are illustrated on this map by Vox. States with more guns have more gun deaths, and states with tighter gun ownership laws have fewer gun deaths. And while mass shootings inevitably lead to talk of thoughts and prayers, they don't lead to more public support for gun control. One survey by the Pew Research Center looked at support for gun control before and after 3 mass shootings and found that the numbers barely moved. Here is one fact about the pervasiveness of gun violence in America that will stay with me forever. It's from the New York Times. Quote, "More Americans have died from guns in the United States since 1968 than on the battlefields of all the wars in American history."
In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 29 Philadelphia, a creative idea helped reignite the joy in Tina Romagnano's life when she was asked to participate in her great-nephew's wedding. The 91-year-old, who's been widowed for 8 years, was beyond excited to play a part, but it wasn't the part she expected.
And I said, "You mean maid of honor?" And Lumen said, no, we want you to be our queen of flowers." It's exhilarating, really. It just makes me feel wonderful.
Tina might be one of the oldest flower girls, but you'd never guess because you can't put an age on spirit.
I was thrilled. I thought, whoever heard of that? And I thought it was funny, and I just keep telling everybody that it should be in the Guinness Book as the oldest flower girl in history.
And for our final story, a hospice in Greensboro, North Carolina is granting its patients' final wishes with the help of virtual reality. In an interview with Top 30, Pete Overcash, chaplain at Hospice and Palliative Care in Greensboro, said he got the idea when a patient said her last wish was going to the beach one final time. Overcash heard about virtual reality and hoped it could be the solution. And it was. Thanks to VR, Mary was finally able to go to the beach. VR has now helped many of their patients. Overcash said even when an illness keeps them confined to a bed or a wheelchair day in and day out, patients can still continue making memories, having new experiences, and living life to the fullest. Katy Perry is selling one of 2 homes in her Los Angeles compound. The new American Idol judge has listed the Hollywood Hills home for $9.45 million. The gated 4-bedroom, 5-bathroom Mediterranean estate is 7,418 square feet and sits on more than 2 acres. The luxury home features a 2-story guest house, limousine-length garage, detached fitness center, and security guardhouse. The backyard boasts a massive seating area with outdoor fireplace, a pool bordered with Italian stone, cabana, spa, fountains, gardens, fruit trees, and an amphitheater. The master suite takes up the entire 2nd level of the house and has its own Roman bath. Sitting next to the popular hiking spot of Runyon Canyon, Katy purchased the 2-home compound in 2013 from oil heiress Eileen Getty. So if you've got the cash, this sweet pad could be yours.
Many baby boomers are never going to get to retire. Not really. So many don't have the savings they need to keep them going for the rest of their lives. So they're selling their homes, purchasing RVs, and taking odd jobs around the country to survive. Because people are living longer, planning for retirement has become a burden on the retiree rather than their employer, as there are fewer pension plans. In addition, back-to-back recessions wiped out many of the personal savings baby boomers plan to use for retirement. According to the Washington Post, currently 9 million senior citizens work, compared with 4 million in 2000. And here's the thing, that is more than double the number in less than 2 decades. Nissan is being sued for conducting illegal surveillance on workers in one of its American plants. In August, workers at Nissan's plant in Canton, Mississippi, voted against joining the United Auto Workers Union by 2-1. Now, court filings obtained by Bloomberg allege that before the election, the management in Canton spied on workers. They were then assigned scores. Negative ratings were given to workers who were pro-union. One employee was reportedly described as, quote, not in favor of a union due to past experiences. Another was seen hanging out with pro-union technicians. A spokesperson for Nissan denied any wrongdoing and called the complaint, quote, another attempt by the UAW to ignore the voices of Nissan employees who chose to reject representation. The question this lawsuit has raised is whether those workers made that choice freely and whether choosing to have their workers' rights represented by a union impacted how they were valued by the company.
If you're feeling adventurous, let a surprise travel agency plan your next vacation. How it works is simple. A trip is designed based on an online survey to target a traveler's interests and budget. According to the Washington Post, Kelly Bemis used one of these agencies, Pack Up and Go, to book a surprise getaway for herself and her mom. 5 days before their flight, Kelly and her mother received an envelope containing the details of their trip to Philadelphia. Not only that, they received gift cards for dinner and a rideshare service, a confirmation for 2 nights in a hotel, and an optional itinerary to popular attractions. Agencies like these are sprouting up all over the place, so look into surprise vacations if you don't want to deal with the stress of planning your own. A new study published in this month's edition of Cell Host Microbes says the health of your teeth is dependent on your diet and oral hygiene habits, not genetics. This information makes it clearer than ever why it's crucial to take good care of your teeth and gums, which is why we're presenting you with today's Top 30 deal, the Crystal Care Plus Professional Sonic Toothbrush. The Crystal Care Plus is awesome. It's made with DuPont bristles, and at 31,000 brush strokes per minute, the Crystal Care Plus blasts away plaque with the gentlest touch. And not only that, the lab-tested UV sanitizing charging base kills germs and bacteria while keeping your brush clean and charged for the next use. The brush has 2 audio alerts, a 30-second area change alert, and a 2-minute smart auto timer, so you can meet the dentist's recommended brushing time easily. This Crystal Care Plus Professional Sonic Toothbrush retails for $200, but today you could buy it for just $49. That's a 76% discount. And you can get this right now at top30deals.com while they last. Sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference. 19-year-old Tanaya Frank was in a shoe store when she noticed a young child sheepishly ask what shoes he could buy for under $75 because that's all he had. She said she was raised to help others, so she took action and offered to help the 5th grader. Tanaya is a college student who works in a bar, but she offered to buy whatever shoe he wanted. The boy settled on the LeBrons because he could also wear them to an upcoming school dance. The price tag, $180. The boy's father was moved to tears and took a picture. Tanaya posted the picture on Facebook with the story, and it's gone viral. Her message to others: learn how much joy a gesture like this can bring and pay it forward.
Google and Amazon are racing to see who will rack up the most sales from smart speakers. Google is reportedly working on a new home speaker command codenamed Manhattan. It is supposed to compete with Amazon's Echo Show, which is the most expensive device that works with the voice assistant Alexa. Like the Echo Show, the Google device will have a screen and let users make voice commands and video calls, but unlike the Alexa, it will run on Google's Android software, and experts say it gives Google an advantage over Amazon because it will let developers come up with apps more easily. The Google device will integrate with the thermostat Nest and other smart home appliances. The news is also a sign that the rivalry between the two tech giants is heating up. Last week, Google pulled its YouTube service off of the Echo Show. Amazon said the move was, quote, disappointing and hurts both our customers. Experts say it's not a matter of whether smart speakers take off, but which company will have the most success. One question Alexa can't answer is whether she'll still have a job in a couple of years.
let's face it, a lot of us don't get enough sleep. The CDC estimates more than 1/3 of adults get less than 7 hours of sleep per night. But according to Huffington Post, a sleep deprivation study published in the journal Sleep found skimping on shut-eye can lead to long-term sleep problems. 48 participants were broken into groups. Each group was allowed 4, 6, or 8 hours of sleep per night for 2 weeks. When they were awake, their cognitive performance was tested every 2 hours. The 8-hour group performed the best on average. The 4-hour group gradually did worse. The 6-hour group held steady, but by the 10th day, their performance was the same as one who hadn't slept for 2 days. Researchers said it could be they were in a state of denial about how tired they were. But there's no denying this. Getting enough sleep is critical to your health, so make sure to catch those Z's.
That is it for today's Top 30. Here are some stories coming up that are worth knowing about. Americans are paying more to use ATMs than ever before. Fees have hit a record high. The makers of this drone say it's the most advanced in the world, and with 2 seats, it might give you a new way to commute. And a woman is now a nurse at the hospital where she beat cancer twice. Those stories and more coming up on the next Top 30.